This is the View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 3rd of October, 2023. My name is Patrick Smith. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. And you can also download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a lot more of your normal podcast providers. On this week's show, it was another 4 points in the Challenge Cup to keep the Giants on top of their group with a 100% record. Let's look at the trip to Scotland. Jeff Baum is back for a third season in Teal. The Grand Slam winning Texan joins us, and it's Player of the Month time. So let's look at the nominees. The Giants will begin their quest to retain the Elite League title with 2 road games away to Guildford and Cardif. So let's bring on the former Bracknell B, Todd Kelman, for his opinion on things. And if we've got time, there's a little bit of dops, and I feel another call for people not to be melters. Mr. McJimsey, how are you doing?
Not too bad, Paddy.
Keeping well. Now, let me just check. Marty, can you hear me? No. Gareth, I don't think Gareth Martin can hear. We got Gareth Martin to join us. I don't think he can hear us at the minute. So I'm just going to drop him out for a second, and hopefully he can rejoin us. But I was going to say, nice to have Gareth Martin on the show.
Yes, I'll send them a little message while you tell me what's going to happen in the next 30 seconds and tell them to reboot.
Well, what I'm going to do is, first of all, actually, send him a message. He can't hear us. Well, let's try again. Can you hear us now? No, we are absolutely live. So let's bring in a temporary substitute. How you doing, Says?
I'm all right, gents. How are you?
Can you hear us?
Beji?
I can hear you absolutely fine, yeah.
How's
you're
life?
looking a bit
Where are
brown.
you?
Yeah, you're looking a bit browned off there, Says.
I've actually been running about here for the last hour trying to get a good side of me. I'm in New York, mate. It's absolutely gorgeous the last few days. So just sort of, getting away for a couple of days just as the season's kicking off. And I normally try and get away at the end of July, but couldn't do it this year. And as soon as I seen the schedule, whereas 2 weekends away, I just went, that'll do me. So Jasmine and I have been here for the last few days. And yeah, it's been great.
Oh, let's see. I think let's bring Marty back in, see if he can hear us. Can you hear us now, Mr. Martin?
All good, thank you.
Yeah, welcome back. Now you're probably wondering why Simon's here, because you've very kindly agreed to come and join us. Simon's only here temporarily because while we were organising this here thing, there was one thing you didn't tell us, but Simon did tell us. What did you tell us, Simon?
It's your birthday day, Marty. You kept that one quiet. Happy birthday to you.
So unfortunately,
unfortunately,
you're now subject to this. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
To you.
It's smooth.
Happy birthday, dear Marty. Happy birthday
to you.
Yeah, we got there in the end, Helen.
You know what?
That's smooth. Good job, boys. Thank you.
That's what we did. That's the only reason. That's the only reason that says back in.
You know what? I think it deserves a bit of a laugh. What about jumping in the pool fully clothed?
Yeah, you got to do it. Let's
go on, mate. Go on. Here we go. Simon Kitchen, straight into the swimming pool, fully clothed. Yeah. Have a good holiday, Simon.
The best present, thank you.
Big thanks to Simon Kitchen for joining us live from holiday. The absolute nut job. Love him. Marty, listen, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. Thank you. I'm very grateful to be asked to cover Sis while he's on holidays and join you two gentlemen. So yeah, thank you. I'll just going to go wing it with you guys tonight and talk some hockey. I've been looking forward to it since you asked me last week.
The winging it is how we do a View from the Bridge, mate, every single week. As you can tell, as it's been going. Right, let's get cracking, boys. The Belfast Giants were still in Challenge Cup action, and this time we went over to Glasgow to face the Glasgow Clan. A 4-2 win for your Belfast Giants. Goals for the Belfast Giants from Cooper, Brown, Lake, and Mark Cooper again is second. Goals for the Glasgow Clan came from Michael Pellich, a name we know well, his brother, and Ryan Harrison. With regards to goalkeeping, Tyler Bescarwani, 21 shots on, 2 goals against. Jake Kiley, 20 shots on, 4 goals against. Your refs are Toby Craig and Daniel Ferguson. Davy, I'll start with you. A game the Giants took hold and took control pretty early and held on to.
Yeah, I thought we were a very, very good value for the win at the weekend. I don't know if you're going to run the highlights or not there, Paddy, but they picked up a double minor very, very early in the game. You don't often see them called by refs. Actually, 2 penalties on the same play, but there was a trip and a bit of a slash that on the game sheet are both down.
And looks for the line to go down.
I got to mute the sound on that, but that's the first goal here, and I'll come back to this later in the show about Mark Cooper's part in them, but. Went up. It was actually the second power play about 5 minutes in the game, but on that 5-on-3 power play, there's an unbelievable breakaway for Clan. That Besco comes up with a massive save. When we'll go 1-0 up, he comes up with another save from a 2-on-1, and he kept us in at this certain extent. Yes, we had a lot of possession. Yes, we had a lot of ozone time. We did really well. And then there's a really smart pick from Prince and just holds a puck. Travis Brown breaking off the bench. They sort of lost their details a wee bit. Got a bit scrambled when we picked the puck up off the boards and came up the half wall, and another short-handed goal for us, 3 or 4 through the first sort of half dozen games of the season. So we said early season, with the pace this team has, they will score short-handed goals, and that's the way it's been. A really lovely goal here. It's the pass from Coops makes the goal. There's a bit of a dispute about this goal, but we'll come to that later as well. And then the Clan peg us back a little bit going through the game, but then Mark Cooper obviously comes up with that fourth later in the game. And I thought we really took control. From the start of the third period, we came out and we just took control of the puck. There was very little, we forced the Clan to dump into our zone and go and try and make us turn. And all bar one, I think that one dump in recovery the whole of the third period. We kept control of the neutral zone. We didn't allow them any real easy entries into our zone. Very little on Besco in that third period. Anything he had to do, he done really well. And as I said at the very start of the piece, very, very good value for the win.
Marty, I think the Giants defensively have been pretty solid, but going forward, you look at that short-handed goal. Obviously, it maybe comes off a bit of a Philip Shaunch mistake. It sort of allows us and Travis Brown to come in the back post and score. But defensively and in special teams, the Giants doing really well.
They've started off great. I couldn't believe what Sanchez did. He was so lackadaisy, just not really putting any effort into the puck. And who was it again who picked up the puck?
Prince.
When Prince picked up the puck, he didn't even battle hard. He just let Prince skate up around, create his own space, and then he fed Travis there back post. Lovely control of the puck and shot in there. Nice goal. But yeah, going back, Giants have been doing very well on the power play. I mean, Mark Cooper probably couldn't believe his luck in that first goal. I actually felt their formation was better on the 5-on-3 rather than the 5-on-4. The 5-on-4, the 2 wingers were over on one side and they were getting a bit mixed up. Jason Morgan, I'm sure, would have been fuming with that first power play or that first penalty kill they conceded.
Davey, you mentioned the controversy over the Belfast Giants' third goal.
Just the timing there, Paddy. Actually, it's coming up here. There's no real controversy for me. If I can pause, just at the right moment. Coop's top of the circle in his favourite spot. Plays Laker in now. Now the goalie, as you can see, has kicked the nets off there. The puck has gone through. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen because nobody can see what I'm pointing at. The puck has gone. The puck has gone between the posts through the blue paint. So I don't know if you've got the ruling from the rule book. I heard the fans booing. To be honest, I was a bit disappointed with Craig Anderson on commentary, saying, we don't have goal line technology to rule this out. We've just got to live with it. If a goalie or a defender knocks the nets off accidentally or on purpose and the puck's going in the net, then a goal's rewarded. It's just in the rules. I don't want to be an ass about it. But if you learn some of the rules of the game, it really enhances your enjoyment of the game because you can instantly go, that's a goal, that's not a goal. Or then you can have a fight with the referees. We'll come to that later. If they get it wrong or they get it right. But in this instance, the refs have got it. There's the infraction. If you want to, I'll read it to you. A goal will be awarded when an attacking player with an imminently scoring opportunity is prevented from scoring as a result of a defending player displacing the goal either deliberately or accidentally. And it is determined that the puck would have entered the goal between the northern position of the goalpost. The referee's well positioned. It goes through the blue paint into the post. If the goals hadn't been there, it would have went into where the goals would have been. So good goal. So credit to the officials when they get it right, because the hammering that they've taken this weekend on and off the ice, and we talk about it often in the podcast, they're part of the furniture, and without them there is no game. They got the call absolutely spot on, and you should praise them when they do a good job.
Absolutely. Marty?
I can remember you talking about this in the preseason game. The nets were coming off far too easy, and as you can see there, the netminder is backing up. It actually looks like he's using his post to do the kickoff to then get across, to try and save the one-timer from Ben Lake. But there's no dispute. I don't know why people were booing it, because that puck was only going in one place in the back of the net, and even when the net is slightly over to the right-hand side, it's still hitting the back of the net no matter what. So for a goal, 100%.
Have the Clan improved, Davy, since we saw them?
No.
Do you think they're in trouble?
Funny, as we were having a bit of a laugh earlier on today, I was saying on Twitter, don't panic, the new league table's out and the Giants are one from the bottom, but we haven't played a game and the Clan have and they're below us, so that says something about them as well. I don't think it's time for panic yet. Jason Morgan is, he talked on the podcast last week about this being a process, and I think that the Clan fans also have to buy into this is going to take him time. This is not going to be a case of Clan are going to run away with the league, they're going to win the challenge. This is a process. The Clan have needed stability for years. They've had that revolving door process, with the coaches. They've came in, and they've gone out the same way, and they haven't won anything. So it's a time for solidity. He has to believe that he's assembled. I think he's assembled a good enough roster. What I would agree with Marty was, you have to, the old saying about, what is it? Good talent beats hard work when hard work, I can't remember exactly, something like that. But there was elements.
Beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. You've got that one. The Giants have dumped the puck deep and gone for a line change on the penalty kill, and there's not a Giant in the Clan half of the ice when they start the forecheck, when the Clan go back to pick the puck up, and Greg Prince is able to skate 100+ feet and pick and recognize he's not going to go up the half wall. He's going back behind his own net. I'll cut that angle off. And then as Marty said, he didn't even attempt, I'll lay a slash on him, I'll put a hook on, I'll do anything. I'll just let him skate back up to the top of the circles. And Travis Brown, good recognition, sees that all three of the Clan players sort of get puck hungry. I feel like they all three go to the puck. And Browner comes down the left wing, bang, open as you like. Lovely slip pass through a couple of players, and it's picked up and it's scored well. But that effort has to be there. The Clan will be down there if they do not up their effort levels. There's no doubt that they're a well-assembled team. They've good goaltending. I don't think they've got great goaltending. I think they've got good goaltending, but it is very early in the season. Marty Rooney, like I say, as Davy just said, it was how I was going to open my question to you, is that we are early in the season. There is time for them to turn it around. They turned it around last season. They started off badly, and they were able to fight their way into the playoffs. So there is a way for that to turn around. But do they have the personnel to do that?
There was a lot of hype around the Glasgow Clan this year, and a lot of people were saying top four, more or less top half of the table. And I think the rebuild is going to be slow, and Davy nailed it there. It's going to take time. I don't think they're going to come out and be a force for the main teams, the top teams at the minute. They're going to have to find their feet, and I think it's going to be a positive movement from what we have seen the last couple of years. Especially with Aaron Murphy in there and with the new ownership, and they're all positive thinking hockey guys, and they will send them in the right direction. But it will take time. They can't just expect to be, like the run we are on, what the Belfast Giants run over the last 5-6 years under Adam Keefe. It does take time, that process.
Davey, you've got a bit of analysis of Mark Cooper in the game.
I want to talk about Coops because we made captain, and I'm going to bring a little video up here and we can talk through it. Hopefully I can pause at times as well here and talk through it. Some of the reasons why Mark TV's needed Coach Russell. Told him I'd give him a mention, as we always do. Calls him the MVP, and he like the first year Coops came in, he called him MVP in October. You know, he didn't wait to Christmas. He didn't wait through the dog days or when we got to the business part of the season when he was really dominating. He called him early, and again last season when he came back, and now this season. So, especially in the power play, Mark Cooper's got a really good habit of just going in. If you see where, I'm not sure who it is actually in front of the net for us, but just the gap between those two in that little area by the post, that's Coop's office, you like. But on the goal, the feed across, so it comes back up the wall to Gendron eventually here, comes round. Gendron at this stage. So the goalie is in a good position. He's came out, squared the shot, but just a little pump by Mike Gendron just puts him down on his knees. And at this point, it's over to Coops. Now, look where this is important now. Look where Coops' left foot is just as he releases his shot, right? Just right in the left-hand side of the hash marks there. Goalie's already down on his knees. It's a hard enough shot to save. And it goes 1-0 to Giants. But what I want to do there is roll on. Coops rolled out really nicely into that space. So he comes towards the puck, and then he just backs up at this point to give himself that wee bit of whip on the shot. If we go on to the next goal then, which will come on, another power play opportunity for us later in the game. I know if you're listening and you don't have the video here, I apologise. So this is why you should tune into the video version of this podcast. I've let that clip run. So we've got another power play, Ben Lake in the centre, Kieran Long and Coops. So there's two opportunities come on this. So the first one's a good face-off win by Ben Lake. We work it back. Coops goes into where he always goes, this little corner where I'm talking about, comes up with an opportunity in front. Then we'll roll on, because we'll go back to the same circle. It's just can I speed this up? Sorry. We'll go back to the same circle. The puck's won. There you've got Coops again, winning a second time, dishing it back out. Third time, it's everything on this power play is going through Mark Cooper. Again, back to Coops, looking head up all the time, looking for passes, feeding it back to the point. I'm getting him a point here. Again, everything in this power play is being quarterbacked by Mark Cooper here. Puck goes in. Look where he's going. He's going to set himself up in that little slot. Yeah. Puck gets turned over. I hear Marty often talk. This is now they've had 35 seconds of power play time. That's like what Marty sometimes calls the chase and replace. You know, you've had your go, get off, get the second power play unit. Mark Cooper takes the puck here on the wall, doesn't stop his feet moving the whole time, works his butt off to get down low, into his office again there. The puck comes around the top. See if I can just pause this at the right time here. Now, as the puck, remember the first goal where we were talking about Coops picked it up in the right circle and reverses into the left-hand side of the slot or the hash marks. Look where his left foot is, right? Now, the goalie's had a look at this from the first goal. The pucks came sort of the same direction. Goalie's thinking shot. This is what he's done the last time from exactly the same position. The goalie goes for Mark Cooper's shot, and it just opens up a perfect lane to Ben Lake at the back stick. Coops fakes a shot, bang, goal. So on like that just movement where he's going into the top of the circle, getting that left foot in, down hard, reversing back. At here, the goalie thinks shot and goes for it, and bang, he's out of position. He's quite an aggressive goalie. He's put himself over there in the blue paint, and there's no point going on. But like if we go on to the third goal, at this point, whenever we're getting the puck up centre ice, it's actually 14. I'm not sure who 14 is for the Clan, but he's the guy down centre ice here. The two D men take centre ice away, and he's covering Coops. And at here, Coops just barrel rolls inside, and he takes his eye off the puck, or he keeps his eye on the puck, takes his eye off Coops ever so slightly, and bang, he's just got himself 10 feet of space there. Puck comes back to him, and he just dwells on it ever so slightly, and just takes his feet into the top of the circle again, and releases a really quick release. And he's got 2 goals in the night and assist, man of match performance, absolutely outstanding from the captain.
It's exactly, Marty, what Coops can do, isn't it?
Yeah, well done, Davy. Picking all out. You know, Coops' hockey IQ, best in the team. You know, he's been there about 3 years now. He's one of the most experienced guys. Obviously, Garside is the most experienced, but you know, he's in there with the likes of Jeff Baum now, Lake. You know, he's one of the experienced guys. He's running the show, and when you were pointing out there, Davy, what you can see, even when he's in an area where you think he's going to be static, he's not. His feet are always moving. So he had that left foot always just kind of in the hash marks, kind of into the face-off dot, and he'll kind of move it back up again. So the goaltenders are trying to set for him, but he's always not really showing his hands straight away. And then they think, okay, he's going to take a shot. Oh, he doesn't. He makes a lovely pass over to Ben Lake. He's just. It's so good to watch him. It's so good to have him on our team, and an extra bonus with him being the captain this year, running the ship.
If he does the same, if he makes the same play every time, if he shoots every time, it becomes easy for goalies. Now goalies are having to think goalies study shooters, and they know tendencies, and they'll know everybody coming down on them that'll break away. If Aaron Nazarian's coming down, those goalies will have done their homework and go, most likely he's going to go high glove, he's going to go low blocker, whatever it happens to be. You can't read what Coops is going to do there. You just can't read. He goes down in that low position just beside the net, and of late he's been doing that sort of drag back in front to try and get a shot, but he's also just started feeding into the low slot, which is where you get more than 9 out of 10 goals in hockey come from that low slot. So, he's so many strings to his bow. I don't know, Paddy, have you got, I've sent you a message, have you got the best goal saves one I sent through?
I've got one marked Curdy shots blocked, but I don't have one for
Throw it on. This is just an example. Curdy's played 27 minutes on the night. I can pull it up here if you want, Paddy. I've got it.
No, I've got it here.
Curdy's played 27 minutes on the night. Sorry, again. There's a minute and a half left in the game. They've pulled the goalie 6-on-4, and Curdy there throwing his body in front of the puck. Really, really hurt. He takes that in the knee, stays in the play, and Clan works so hard to get another shot, and he throws himself again. It's just like, this guy is a workhorse for us. This puck comes across back door. He's not even letting that get through the Besco. Everything. Two opportunities within 30 seconds, and he's played nearly 30 minutes of the game, and he's still thrown himself. He has been the guy for me on the back end that has impressed me the most, despite having to carry so much load with Gendron being out and different other reasons. But just the sacrifice that these guys are willing to make, shift in, shift out for Adam Keefe. We'll talk about. So for me, we probably need to work ever so slightly in the face-off circle. We're not winning enough face-offs, so we're having to work to get the puck back. But my goodness, see, when we get the puck, we are a possession team. We control all 3 zones. And when the other team have it, if they win a face-off, we kill the neutral zone, so they have to go in behind us. We don't let them into our zone easy. We get in. We carry the puck into the opposition zone a lot rather than dump and chase it in. We're not a dump and chase team. We're a possession team. We've talked about it for, Paddy, 10 years, the Belfast Giants, about puck possession. So start winning face-offs, and all of a sudden that goes up even more, and we'll be creating so many more opportunities. The other video was Besco, and we talked about it at the start of the piece. Besco makes 2 unbelievable saves in the first period, one just before they score and one just after they score, that keep us in it. And Besco has been, we'll talk Player of the Month later. We talked earlier about who our nominations might be. Besco is quietly and really commandingly going about his work. When we've needed him at the back end, especially early in that game, we've dominated early. We've got a 5-on-3 power play, and they break away with a slight bad pass, and Besco comes up with a lovely wee left pad save. So going about his business, really, it's really hard because every month there's like, Besco could be Player of the Month nomination every single month. And we're shouting the day.
Who's the standard of player that he is?
Standard that he's giving you. He gives you an opportunity to win every night. Our D's playing really well. And at the minute, the forwards are contributing as well. And, once those face-offs wins for me start to come a wee bit more consistently, this team's got really good things ahead of it.
Before we give the 5-game rattle, let's hear from the coaches after the game against Glasgow.
Obviously, another game won and lost in special teams. Thought the first period, our urgency and our battle level was, we didn't match theirs. And goes for 5-on-5 power play. The urgency has to match the work ethic of the PK, and we gave up a power play goal and then the shorthanded goal. I thought, but we regrouped. I mean, after they scored that third goal, we didn't quit, and we were able to come back in the game. I thought we had some good looks in the first, but Besco, he's a good goalie. They're a good team, and but we found a way to get back in the game. And then obviously in the third, we gave up an easy goal. It was a 3-on-3 rush, and failed coverage, and but we had our chances with 8 power plays, more than enough opportunity to get ourselves back in the game, but we couldn't.
Well, I thought it was a good third period. We knew that after Glasgow's pushback there in the second period that we were going to have to be good in the third. And then obviously we gave them some chances on the power play, but I thought our kill was good. I thought up until the power plays, I thought we were controlling the third period. So there's a positive that you can play with a lead in the third period and do the right things and gut out that win. Obviously I'd like to see that game played a little more 5-on-5. But these are the way, sometimes these games go that way and you need to find a way, and our guys did that tonight.
Highlights in that game are on Clan TV on YouTube, and we move on to the following night where we travelled down the road to Kirkcaldy to take on the Five Flyers, and it was a 1-0 victory for your Belfast Giants, with Kieran Long getting the only goal in 31 minutes into the game. Jackson Whistle got the start for the Giants, 16 shots and a shutout. Shane on the other side, 33 shots, 1 goal against. And Graham Roger and Steve Brown, the best referee from the Northeast, because his mum told me that. Steve Brown, your referee. Marty, Fife are difficult in their own rink. They've got a bit of new lease of life under Tom Cullen. We saw what happened to the Glasgow Clan there last week, and the Giants struggled against a team who were very tight defensively around Shane Owen.
I thought both teams went at it. I think the Giants had a lot more opportunities to score. Shane Owen stood on his head like he normally does. And I think that they're going to be dangerous this year. I briefly spoke to Taff on Sunday, and he was just saying, that was a tough game. They're fast. A lot of teams got to be aware of them this season. But when we were in possession of the puck, I like what we did. I mean, we got a lot of shots going. We see Kieran Long's goal there. He was smart in that one. Normally guys would have took a quick wrist shot, but he's seen there's a lot of traffic. He was wanting to see what the scattering of players were going to do, and he just wound it up for a half slap shot and just placed it nicely into the bottom right-hand corner there. But yeah, you know what, for a 1-0 game, it was a good game to watch.
Davy, a few flashpoints in the game as well. You look at the penalty shot that Theodore missed. You also had the hit on Anton Eriksson, which was unfortunate. Nothing dirty about it, just unfortunate in the position that it was in. But these two teams, there wasn't much between them.
No, I thought the first period sort of dragged in that there was a lot of penalty minutes in the first period. I think there was 5 minor penalties. So, half the first period is played either on the power play or the penalty killing for both teams. They couldn't get settled into any real rhythm in the game. Thought, we mentioned Shane Owen playing well. I thought I really liked how Jackson played on Sunday night. I thought he's a lot more aggressive than he's been lately. His toes were right on the top of the blue paint a lot of times. He's obviously made some big saves at crucial times. And this one, our guest coming up was heavily involved in it. There was a breakout rush, and he just delays the pass on the blue line and sends Johnny Curran in behind the net, who they give us so much time, and as Sis always calls it, Gretzky's office. We had so much puck possession in behind our net where they sort of didn't really put too much pressure on us and were able to feed pucks out in front, and they seemed to be happy enough to defend that way. It went against them once, obviously, Laker coming up. There's just there's the feed in from Bomber there, actually. Johnny Curran goes in down below. It maybe takes a wee ricochet off Oliver Cooper there, but just here, to be honest, Shane Owen does really well to even get his hand up. The guess that the puck's going that direction, there's that much traffic in front of him. But again, Kieran Long's had a really, really strong month, and talk about earning your ice time in hockey. There's a guy at the minute that's really earning his ice time.
You have to agree with that, Marty.
Yeah, 100%. Davy's so good at analysing the game, and it's just a pleasure to listen to the way he breaks it all down. But just going back to Kieran Long, for me, he's been standout this month. At home he stepped up in a certain way. He's been very smart, the way Mark Cooper has. There's times where you're watching longer play and you think he's going to make that pass, you think he's going to take a shot. He makes a pass. I think just touching back on previous game, Matt McLeod, he actually fooled Matt McLeod, got stuck in McLeod's feet. So he's just always kind of one step of the play, and when you have that, you're in top form as a hockey player.
Got to say, Paddy, before you go, that is detailed preparation. That is breaking down what goalies are going to do. We talked about it. Longer actually talked about it in an interview about, we know that Dundee goalie Kevin Carr very aggressive. So we know he's going to come out the top of his paint to get square on the shot. So if we can get across the Royal Road, those backdoor tap-ins, similar to Keelty on the other night, you get the goalie out and you get him. Was it the first goal we were analysing? He gets squared up to the shooter. And then the pass is made to get him, and you've got almost an I know it's a shot from the left side of the circle, but it's almost, if you like, an empty net shot. I think we had seven pops at the empty net, by the way, on Saturday or on Friday night against the Clan. We just couldn't round it out, and we allowed them to get a wee bit of pressure on us. But that's what ended up Charlie Curdy having to do those heroic blocks at the end. But the 16 shots, I think, might even be on the generous side to Fife, whoever was counting them for them. A really, really strong defensive performance again. And we talked in the previous section about defense coming from the three guys up front, clogging that neutral zone, forcing them in behind, and then we've got to step on them to go and clear pucks and make them continually come 200 feet at us. I thought, especially Friday night, we completely controlled the third period of the game, bar a couple of minutes where they got a little bit of pressure on us when they were able to get the extra man on the ice and a couple of penalties we took that we wouldn't want to be taken. But like Saturday night, away to Fife, it was there, they were going to be up for it. And as I say, after the first period, I thought we were really, really strong. That first period was it was horrible to even watch. Once we got a strong second period, it was just so bitty. We're on the penalty kill, then we're on the power play, then we're on the penalty kill, then we're... And I'm not even going to say the calls were particularly bad, but you heard, we'll probably come on that later in the show, the reaction of the crowd at the end. They were especially incensed about the incident towards the end, which was just one of those really unfortunate. We're really glad the player's going to be okay. It's just an unfortunate incident, and Ericsson's going to be okay. And unfortunately, he came out, tried to shift, but shook his head and went off.
It was position on the board. You know what I mean? There was nothing wrong with the hit itself. It was the momentum of the direction they were traveling. The hit pushes them into what is just it's a dangerous part. No, we saw
I'm surprised there's not. I'm surprised that doesn't happen more. Yeah. Well,
do you remember the
Brad Voth hit somebody?
It was Voth hit Sheffield Steeler.
But he didn't have his helmet on.
He didn't have his helmet on properly,
and his helmet came off and he hit the half boards. Yeah. It's a dangerous sport. We're glad he's okay.
Let's get the views of the coaches after the game against Fife.
Well, there are a lot of power plays, a lot of penalties. I look at it this way. I look at that it was a 1-0 hockey game. We had our chances. We had a penalty shot. We had the first 50 seconds. I think we had two great chances. We score on those is a different game. But they're a good team. There's a reason that they were the champions of the league, and they're in the Champions League. They're a good hockey team, and we're a work in progress. But I felt that we had our moments out there tonight too. When you're killing, it's tough. Again, I thought we did a great job killing penalties. We came up big, and we had chances to score, but you have to score. You can talk about chances, but you have to finish. The name of the game is to put the puck in the net, not over the net. And I thought we shot the puck wide, but we had our chances. I mean, it's a game, 1-0 game. Anybody's hockey game out there.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the game. Obviously, there was a ton of special teams there. Both teams' penalty kills very good. Both goalies were very good. So it was a great game of hockey. Myself personally would like to see it played out more 5-on-5. I thought 5-on-5. I thought we controlled the majority of that game, and weathered the storm there late in the third period there when you guys made a push. And ultimately, sometimes you're gonna have to win games 1-0, 2-1. And credit to our guys, they got that one out and got it done. And we know it's a tough building against a very fast team, and it's a big win in the Challenge Cup round robin for us.
The highlights are from Flyers TV on YouTube. Just briefly before we get to our first guest, who's very patiently waiting in the wings, the status of the Challenge Cup Group A is that the Belfast Giants have played 4 games, won 4 games, sitting top, and they've played everybody now: Fife, Glasgow, and Dundee, subsequently in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Marty, would you say Fife are probably the toughest opponents out of the 3 of those so far? I think personally, from the 3 Scottish teams we played, I think Fife have been the best I've seen.
Yeah, most definitely. I think okay, that little blip against Dundee where we went 2 down, and then great management by Adam Keefe to do the timeout to regroup and take it to Dundee. I don't think Glasgow or Dundee have really bothered us. But the Fife game, only a 1 goal in it. Anything could have happened. They had the penalty shot instance, which I thought was a bit of a weak call by the ref, but they could have went on to equaliser, and it could have been a different story. So for me, I think that's going to be the toughest opponent in that group.
Davy, your analysis of the Scottish teams we've played?
Fife's a hard rink to go into. I'll save my analysis on Fife. I've seen them in Belfast. I think they were shut out a couple of games in a row, and then they've gone and scored 6 in Coventry, so they do have goals in them. I just thought we managed defensively very well the other night. We shut them down when we needed to, and keeper just said they're 5-on-5. We were pretty strong against them. And when you're playing the game short-handed, even when you're playing with an extra man, sometimes it's difficult enough to get some flow into the game. So I'll wait that we've seen Glasgow a few times now. We've seen Dundee and Belfast as well. So I'll reserve. It's very hard. I've watched the game 2 or 3 times now, and I still don't think they were all that great, especially even strength. We were pretty dominant. So we overanalyze things at times. Wait to see them in Belfast.
Right. He's been waiting long enough, very patiently. We'd like to welcome the Fan Agenda, brought to you by our friends at Belfast Giants TV. We've just been chatting about him. Davey mentioned his name there. Our good Texan friend, Mr. Jeff Baum. How are you, mate?
How are you doing? Good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. First of all, I'm purposely wearing my Ryder Cup T-shirt just for your dad. I hope he had a lovely time at Marco Simone this weekend. The weather looked fantastic.
Yeah, I think they had a good time. That's for sure. He'll be watching. He'll appreciate it.
I would take my hat off, but we're not going to do that. We just had David just mentioned there about Fife and how Kirkcaldy's a difficult rink to go into. It's been the tightest game we've had since in the last couple of weekends is against Fife. What was your analysis of it?
No, definitely. I think for the new guys coming to Fife for the first time is a little bit of a shock, not just the travel, but also just being in that arena. But I think we handled it well and did a good job of, making sure we put our working hat on and went to work throughout the whole game and, stayed persistent throughout 60 minutes. It's going to take sometimes the whole game to gut one out or whatever it has to be. And I think that really showed some character early on who we got in the locker room. And, that pays credit to Kiefer and Thorts, always doing a great job of bringing in such good guys every year.
Obviously, we've come off the back of the games against CHL teams. We've had a bit of a run-in to start the season. It's really helped us hit the ground running, I suppose, coming into these Challenge Cup games.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we play in the Champions League, it's some really good hockey, and I think everybody gets to see that when we play. But I think that it's a really good test to start the year off with that and, making sure that we're ready to go right off the bat and being able to travel together and get to bond even throughout the journey from going from here to Finland or wherever it may be. So I think that it's something that pays off throughout the season.
Balmer, if I can be so bold, I'm going to ask you to do something that we don't ask all of us. I'm going to try and do a wee bit of video analysis with you here. Okay, yeah. So I don't know whether this will work. I don't want you to feel bad about this.
Still yet to convert tonight.
We only have the goals we only conceded 2 goals at the weekend, and you happen to be on the ice for both of them. No criticism. So this maybe isn't the best week to try and start this. But so their first goal, obviously power play. They've just started power play. It all starts with a face-off win. They win the face-off, and if I roll it, and then maybe you can just give a little bit of analysis where you think I don't know whether you just go back to Belfast and go through video or whether you just do this kind of thing, or whether you look at it yourself and think, could I have done something different? Could he have done something different? Could we have done something different? So just like a little, so it starts with a face-off win, and then you say pause, David, and I'll and let her.
Well, we'll let her run out for the first one.
Yeah. So somebody should probably commentate a little bit for people watching, listening to it on their iPod here.
Right there, that's a good block right there.
Right. So in this position, just as he takes the shot. So for people watching or listening just on an ordinary podcast, you might need to expand a little bit. But for people watching on video here, they can see the sort of setup. Besco, you're in front of, etc.
Yep.
Carry on. Sorry.
Well, first you can pay credit to the Glasgow's guy getting net front. He does a really good job. You're going to score a lot of goals by getting in front of the goalie and getting their heels on the paint. So a good job to him. looking at that, one thing, as a defenseman you can work at trying to prevent is letting those guys get there by boxing out, however it may be. But, I think that Sanch that gets the puck up at the blue line, he's able to find a clear lane that, on the penalty kill, you got to do as good of a job as you can to get a block and, make it difficult for them to shoot the puck. But from out there's usually not much harm. And, I think it was really good job by the guy in net front being able to get a stick on it and just getting a tip and beating it past Besko. But, it's one you're going to have to work through as a group, but we'll keep moving.
Yeah. So just because I love trying to learn a wee bit, in that position you're in, is that the correct? You talk about boxing that guy out who's gone in front of Besko. Mm-hmm. Should you have taken him, or the other D-man taken him, or defending in front of him the right place to be?
It's something, we talk about with Besko too, that me and him have to have a communication on. All D-man do, but from a shot from that kind of distance out, a lot of things that can happen is it could hit so many different things. It could ricochet so many different ways, not only from the guy's stick. So you want to be in a position where if you are not 100% on making the block, you're not making it more difficult for your goalie to make a save off, hitting your skate and changing direction or something like that. So something from out there is just a communication between Besko and myself, a pre-game, post-game, whatever it may be. And then, to go back on what you were saying about boxing the guy out in net front, you never want to let somebody get in front of your goalie like that. So that's definitely something that, looking back on, I wish you could do better, but you got to take what you can and learn from it.
Okay, right. Well, we'll roll on to the second goal. Obviously, there's the little tip in front. I don't know whether, hopefully, you haven't recorded a replay of that. Don't need to see that again. But did. Sorry about that. We'll scoosh on. So the second goal you were involved in again, maybe a little poke check or a little slash to stick out of your hands, and from then this is really more just a bit of bad luck because it happens to come to the guy that you're then battling in front of, and if you've got a stick in your hand, he probably doesn't get that shot away. So we'll let it roll here again. Comes to you in behind. Oh no, it's the same one. Sorry,
apologies. We'll watch it one more time.
So sorry, Jeff.
It's all right.
So it's one here, and it goes in behind the net, and you go and actually pick the puck up, and then at this point you're probably just looking to put it up the wall, or maybe even round the back, and the stick just gets whacked out of your hands. Where have we gone?
Oh yes, here it is, right here. Yeah. Well, you see here, he comes over the top.
Yeah.
Right. My stick broke right there. So when he came over the top, he broke my stick. So the rule is if your stick breaks, you have to drop it, obviously, and you can't play with it. So maybe a little bit of a missed call there by the ref, but
I thought it was quite a heavy slash on the first play. I didn't realize the stick had broke. I thought it actually just knocked it out of your hands, but
no, it had broken down at the bottom of the shaft. So when he came over the top, it broke. But pretty funny, unlucky bounce there. I turned to the ref and I'm like, "Where's the call?" Expecting there to be a penalty because you see, I go to make the pass and the puck doesn't move, and that's because the stick. Yeah, what's going on here? And puck goes up to the blue line. I turn and find a guy net front trying to box him out however way I can. And if you look right here, I give this guy a shove in front of the net and I push him exactly where the puck ends up bouncing to. That's just a little bit of unlucky bounce right there.
Yeah. Which is just happens. Sometimes you get an unlucky. You'll just see it better here where you come back in and you just give him that little shove and it comes off the backboard and just falls straight to him.
Right to where he needs to be. Yeah, no, definitely if I had a stick there, it'd be a little bit easier to get a stick on puck and hopefully deflect that into the glass.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much for analysing them for us, Marty.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hi, Jeff. Gareth Martin here. Pleased to chat with you. I'm a former player way back 15 years ago. Had 2 seasons with the Giants, but I know this is your 3rd season, and I just want to know how it feels now with it being your 3rd season, how it compares to your previous 2. Is Adam Keefe now seeing you as one of the more experienced guys, to kind of go into areas where, if we get a bit of injury, he wants you to kind of be, playing a little more out of your depth, or, being that kind of second senior guy to Gary, who obviously is the most capped guy in the team?
Yeah, no, I think.
Question.
Yeah, no, all good. No, Marty, appreciate it. Thanks. But, I think that, being a third year here, you just try and take guys and show them around and make sure that they're understanding things and help out whichever way I can on the ice or off the ice and make guys feel comfortable and at home, and, trying to get through what our systems are and how Kiefer operates and such like that. And I think that one big thing about being a Giant is that it's, next man up attitude. And I think that goes from the top of our lineup all the way down, that, whatever it may be, to start the season, we had some unlucky injuries and some guys had to step up and play some big minutes. And I think that from the top of our lineup all the way through, everybody understands that it's the next man up. And when your number gets called, it's your turn to really step in and make sure that you help out in any way that you can. I think that just goes on the guys that Thorts and Keeper bring in that are leaders and, want to lead by example and be responsible on the ice. And I think that's just something that really pays homage to the Giants culture.
Yeah, I mean, I've commentated a few games with Sis, and we've spoke a few times how you've kind of grew into the position and grew into the confidence, and it's great to see you just threw into the deep end. It doesn't really matter, who's on or who's out there. It's good to see the trust is instilled in you, and you're now looked upon as one of the first guys to be out there. So
yeah,
good.
Definitely. It's awesome. All the way through, every guy's so great. And I think that it's just really important that we all just keep building relationships and keep moving forward for sure.
One of the final questions from myself. Sorry, Marty, you finished?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, one of the final questions, obviously, we've got 2 games this weekend against Cardif, against Guildford, and then we go back into the CHL for the game against Red Bull Salzburg. So how's the prep? Obviously, only ever thinking of the next game, only ever thinking of Guildford, but is there an eye to that game against Salzburg at home?
I mean, most definitely. I think that we know our position in the Champions League and where we're at, and I think that we're put ourselves in a pretty decent spot to be able to make a push and try and go as far into this tournament as we possibly can. But like you said, at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we focus on the next game ahead of us, and I think that this weekend's going to be a true test and a really good test for a lot of the new guys, and to get to go out and play a regular season game finally and see what it means to play in the EI.
Obviously, one of the things I like to do now is something I like to do is maybe put you on the spot, like we've often done with some of the boys. It's Player of the Month time for September. We asked everybody to give their nominations as to who they thought was September's Player of the Month, and from those nominations, we've drawn up a short list of 4. And here they are. Number 6, Jeff Baum. Number 34, Tyler Besker-Owani. Number 43, Quinn Preston.
Great hair.
I love his hair. And a man who deals with the hair, 89, Kieran Long. I'll come to you last, Jeff. I'll start with you, Davy. From those 4, who are you picking? Jeff Baum's just down there.
That's a tough one with Jeff Baum being just down there.
We do this all the time. I love it when one of the nominees.
I did say earlier, I hadn't seen the nominations that have been coming in on Twitter. I hadn't been reading Twitter at all. That Besko for me has given us a chance to win every game. I think he's been phenomenal. Longer has there's a couple of guys there. Quinn Preston, you've got to expect it to be up in and around there every single month. That's what the expectation will come with being one of those high-end imports. Bomber and Longer go about their business in such an understated professional way, and it's almost when they get elevated to other Player of the Month, it's like, yeah, they've been really superb since they came out. I'm going to stick with my gut, which isn't usually too far off. He'll not get it because he gets it every other month, but Besko for me, Player of the Month this month.
Gareth Martin,
sorry,
choice for the September Player of the Month.
Well, when you asked me earlier, I did say Longer, but when Sis put up his reasoning to choose Jeff Baum, yeah, I'm still on the fence for that one. So do I really need to choose? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
me choose.
Putting you on the spot.
The great thing is, Marty, is you can tell us it's Jeff Baum, and then when it actually comes to voting, you just vote for somebody else. That's how the Conservatives get into power sometimes.
It's enough.
Well, like, initially I did think of Kieran Long, so I'll stick with Kieran Long. But no, certainly Sis put a good point in for Jeff Baum, and it's been tight. So yeah, I'm not turning on that decision. Sorry, Jeff.
And what about you, nominee Jeff Baum? Other than yourself,
whoa! You don't get away with this, Patrick Smith. Who's your nomination, Patrick Smith?
See, I sort of agree with your reasoning in the fact that, Quinn Preston, I would expect is probably going to be a nominee, especially the fans, if he keeps playing at that sort of, he's sort of that skill level that really shines, really pops out at you game after game. So I think he's going to appear again. Besko's going to appear again. It is between Longer and Jeff Baum for me. So while he's here, I'm going to say Jeff Baum. So Jeff Baum, who's your vote going for?
I kind of piggybacking off what all y'all said. I think that, Quinn's definitely going to be one of those household names throughout the season. He's going to score some huge goals for us throughout the season. And he also works hard up and down the ice. We all know what Besko can do. I mean, like you said, Davy, he can steal a game any given night. I think for me right now,
Rory gets it.
Jeff Baum's dad, Jeff Baum Senior, says Rory McIlroy, so he won't even vote for his son. Shocking.
Can't even take that one. But for me, I think I'm going to go with Longer. I mean, he, like you guys are saying, he shows up every day. He does the little things right. He's been getting rewarded of late, and I think did a good job of cutting my hair over the week. So I think I got to pay respect to Longer and give it to him for this one.
and I think we have to, as we do at this stage in every show, Paddy. Where can you get your hair cut if you need to, if you're stuck in Belfast?
Sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Where can you go if you need a good haircut anytime in Belfast from Kieran Long?
Go to Holdfast, 2 Orangefield Lane.
You got it.
The voting for the September Player of the Month will open at 9:00 on Wednesday morning on Twitter. We'll put them all up on our socials. It'll close on Saturday, and the winning player will receive the coveted, the biggest award in Elite League hockey, the coveted A View from the Bridge Player of the Month award at the next home game. Big thanks to Phonacab as always for the continued support, and a big thank you. Go on, Davy, for finish.
And as you say, Jeff, you can vote for Kieran Long on air, but you can vote for yourself on Twitter, and no one will ever know.
Awesome.
Balmer, thanks very much for your time.
Yes, thank you,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Big thanks to Jeff Baum for joining us. Yep, we said the Player of the Month award is open on Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. on our Twitter account. Get your votes in, and we will find out who the Player of the Month for September is on Saturday. Right, time to move on. The Belfast Giants will face Cardif. We faced them in pre-season, but for proper Elite League this Sunday. So when we want to get a lowdown on the Cardif Devils, there's only one man that we call up. That is the former Bracknell B, Todd Kelman. How you doing, man?
Good. Never gets old, hey? Never gets old.
Never, ever, ever gets old. So, give us, what do you think of the way that Cardif Devils have started the season?
First of all, you want my vote for Player of the Month, or do I?
Go on, give us your vote. Give us your vote for Player of the Month.
Because we know you watch every Giants game anyway, so you should be well.
I truly do watch every Giants game. I watch way too much hockey once the season starts, Davey. You know that. I mean, well, I vote for defenseman every time. I'm partial defenseman. I'm going to go with Jeff Baum. Plus, I just watched his whole interview, and he seems like a good guy. I've never met him, but seems like a good guy. Phenomenal hair. So I don't know. Maybe I need a haircut from Kieran Long when I'm over there. But seems like a good guy. He's I think he's improved every year he's been with you guys. So I'm going for Baum.
You think he's got good hair? Have you seen Quinn Preston?
I know. That's just things that you can only dream of, Patty.
It's been a long time.
let me jump in there, Paddy, before we come to top of the questions. To sort of stick with the Jeff Baum theme there. Coming out of the NCAA as a first-year pro into Belfast, it helps you come into a winning culture, and the Giants obviously went on and won the league. Second year he comes back, will win the Grand Slam. He's performing in the Champions Hockey League. Is that enough of a dig for you there? But how do you know? Is it just you have to just take a chance on these guys? I know you do a big pre-scouting. Thorts is very thorough on what he does, but picking a guy out of the NCAA, there's always a risk element, and he's came with a massive upside, which is still on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, no, I think the Friendship Four. I don't know. I'm assuming he probably played in the Friendship Four. That's where Thorts probably saw him. Or
no, he didn't. He played for AI. Did he play for?
No, he didn't. You're right. He was international.
He played AIC.
Yeah.
American International
College.
Both those guys, both Kiefer and Thorts, are obviously good recruiters, and I think sometimes it's easier to take a risk on a defenseman because you can look at him and be like, if he skates well and he moves the puck well, he fits into your system. And I think like, Kiefer plays a pretty fast system, and I think he's probably got particular guys in mind, and it's not always the flashiest guys with the most points that fit in those spots. And I think he was giving him an opportunity, and he ran with it. It happens. It's good to see when players do that. Like I mean, I never want to see you guys doing well. That. But I respect that, because if I'm being honest, that like someone gave me a shot right out of NCAA hockey for this league, and I would have never, you get one chance and you get 1 year to kind of prove yourself, and he did just that and had some success, and he's made a career out of it. So good for him.
We've just been made unofficial again. Robert Fitzpatrick has just texted me to say he did play in the Friendship for Providence. So sorry, Robert.
For Providence.
Yeah.
There you go.
Same. Bringing it back, I'm actually going to change my first question. You've made some changes, quite significant changes in Cardiff this season. One of them being the changing of the head coach and bringing in Pete, the former Castlereagh Knight goalkeeper, Pete Russell.
That was I don't know who came up with that or how long you guys have been waiting for that. That made my day. Me and Pete just laughed at that. I didn't even know that.
I can remember him playing.
Must have been Sis holding on to that one for a while. Hey,
that was 1996. I can remember him playing. You probably remember Davy.
That's hilarious. Well done to you guys.
Did you score against him, Marty?
No, I was really junior at that time. I was at 10.
Did you score against him, Marty?
He did score against he had a goals against average of 17.12. Come on.
But obviously, Pete Russell, and has had his successes in Germany and the likes of that, and then you made the decision to bring him into Cardiff. Was that a tough decision to make?
No, I made it. If I'm being honest, I made it like I didn't make it like I didn't sign him or anything, but I started talking to him at probably Christmas last year. Like when I started talking to Pete a couple years ago. He talked to me originally ahead of the COVID year, and he said, you haven't even asked to interview me. And I said, because I know there's not going to be a season. I just can't tell everyone that we're interviewing that there's not going to be a season, but you've got a job in Germany. Just go back to Germany. And then he went back, and he ended up getting a job in the DEL. He ended up getting fired from there. And then we started talking seriously. That was probably around Christmas time last year. But we were doing well at that point. It's hard to make a change mid-season when you're doing well. And then he went back to Germany in the DL2, and then did really well, won the championship. But he had an out to come back to this league, thank God. Honestly, it's great. I love working with him. I kind of knew him. Like I knew him as an acquaintance. I had a couple beers with him now and then, but I didn't really know him the way you know someone when you spend every single day with them. And I absolutely love working with him. Just a joy to work with. I've been very lucky. I've had some phenomenal coaches to work with. Top of my list, being obviously Andrew Lord, Steve Thornton, Doug Christensen. All three of them were just great guys to work with. Paul 80 just for 1 year, but you know how close when you have a great relationship. I think I had an incredible relationship with all three of those guys. With Thorts, with what we went through when we were kind of a two-man job, and Brooksy as an intern, and that was kind of our entire management team. And with Doug, we went through a lot together and won a league. And then with Lorda, we had a lot of success here in Cardif. And Pete just, when you got to be buddies with the coach, you got to be pretty tight with them. And I feel like me and Pete are pretty tight right away. And he's got a great personality that we laugh a lot and we have a lot of fun, but we talk hockey 99% of the time. So it's good.
Todd, talk to me a bit about culture being so important around hockey, good culture especially. What has Pete changed from last season that has made things incrementally better?
If I had to sum it up, I think the biggest thing is just accountability. I think it's probably one of, if I can compare him to Kiefer, because you guys know how much I think of Kiefer and how much I respect him as a coach and as a player. I think the best coaches hold their players accountable, and I think that's one of Pete's best, probably biggest strengths. I think that's, I think Kiefer's really good at that. I think that was something we probably struggled with the last couple of years, holding guys accountable. nobody likes hearing the bad stuff, but if your coach can't tell you the bad stuff, he's not telling you the bad stuff to be pissed off at you. He's telling you the bad stuff to improve you, to make the team better. And I think when players can kind of understand, okay, he's picking on me, or he's pointing out my flaws or showing what I did wrong in video, but it's in a positive way so that we can get better as a team. And Pete kind of addressed that right from the start. And I love his style. I love the way he works with people. I love that he's good at the awkward conversations, because not a lot of people are good at the awkward conversations. But in a leadership role in any business, but especially in sports, most of your life becomes awkward conversations, whether it's with staff or with players or whatever. But and he handles those really well. So,
Todd, we'll get away from Cardif, Paddy. I'll come back on the upcoming game this weekend. I want to talk about the guy he's to your right on my screen. 41 today, by the way. Happy birthday again, Marty.
Happy birthday, Marty. 41. You're like 20. Marty's like 24 in my head every time I see him.
So this was kind of a question I was going to ask you about, because we do look in the mirror and still think we're 22, 23. Whatever year it was, 2004, I'm going to say something like that, 2003, 2004, when Marty
was 2003, 2004.
So Stu took over, Marty, Mo, Chris McGimpsey, I'm trying to think, Paul Sample was probably there 1 year already. These guys came in, according to the Belfast Telegraph article I was reading earlier on, Todd Kelman still hasn't told Rob Stewart whether he's going to play again this season, but you did, and you remember these young guys all coming in. How did things change back then for you, Todd? Because I know we've talked to Paxton and Wardy and all, and they were like, what are we doing here? This has become almost like a rec league at time. You were going to Basingstoke and maybe 8-0 up after 25 minutes or something. But how important has that been? Because ever since those guys came in, you can see in the crowd in Belfast, and you'll see it in Cardif as well, how important it is to have some sort of local representation. It just gives something extra to the supporters.
Yeah, no, I think Marty and Mo and Chris McGimpsey and Graham Walton, it's a shame that they were at the time they were, because I think imagine if they had what you guys have now, this rink, this ownership group, and nothing. It's not saying the owners at the time. I'm saying the fact that the Odyssey Trust own the rink and own the team, and they've kind of made the SSE Arena the home of the Giants. And I don't have to describe it. It's very different now. It's much better. But I think when they came in, it was a tough situation because they hadn't really played pro hockey before. But for me, I don't know if I've ever enjoyed hockey more than when the guys from Northern Ireland started playing with us. Those are my funnest years with I just absolutely loved it. The guys used to, a lot of the imports used to laugh because Marty, I hung out with you, I hung out with Gimper, I hung out with Mo. My little crew there was the local guys. Shane Johnson was like that too. We used to laugh. We'd be like, these guys they're such good guys, and we didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. But I absolutely loved having them on our team. I thought it was so fun. Even better that they were from Belfast. It always mattered more. The Giants always mattered more to those guys for sure. But I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it was, the Elite League, going from the Super League to the Elite League that first year was tough because you went from an all import league and basically salaries got cut in half, and then all of a sudden you have these guys that a lot of guys that wouldn't have played in the Super League, and then it kind of built up from there. But if those guys hadn't come in, they laid the path for every single Brit that's playing now. All the guys that are playing now have you guys to thank, Marty, you and Mo and Wally, and the guys that kind of laid the path for them, because the Elite League wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for those early years. It's the longest a league has existed, I think, without too much change in the UK. If you think how long did the Super League last? 9 years or something like that, if that, maybe 7 years. 7 years, I think. And it's a stable league now. 10 teams that are surviving, and the Super League was well, do you remember the last year of the Super League? We dropped 3 teams.
Became farcical.
Total farce. And but yeah, just some good guys, like just real good guys. We had some hiccups. I remember the first team party we had, Marty, and I can't remember. I don't even want to bring up the name, but like I'm pretty sure one of the local guys with like one of your buddies headbutted someone at the party, and Mo was rapping, and like me and Colin Ward are going, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into here, man? These boys in Ireland are nuts, you know. But yeah, as the year went on, it's those are some of my funnest times. Like Chris Majimsey, every team should have a Chris Majimsey on their team. Like one of the funniest guys I've ever met, and just a great teammate, you know. But
what's your take on that, Marty?
Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, no, thanks to you and the likes of Shane and Paxton. You took us under your wing, and you embraced us, and like even when you used to see our buddies and used to drop. I mean, remember you used to make your lip quite high. It was like the Belfast look. I'm the hard man of the party, but
Belfast imitation of the locals. Yeah, I was good at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. But no, yeah, you took us on, and we couldn't really shoot the puck properly. We couldn't really, in the practice used to show us how to shoot it correctly and take it from there. But look what you did with the likes of Mo. You brought him on to become assistant captain. Wally went on to do great things for Great Britain as well. So you definitely brought the best out of us, which is very much appreciated.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I thought Davy was coming back in there, but
no. I'll come back.
Davy was just dreaming. He had a bubble of Mo Train. It just kind of went above his head.
I was just taking me back to
sorry,
really
Davy. Before
times.
You do though, because one of the things I was thinking of there is the idea of the nickname the Mo Train. That came from an interview with Todd Kelman, where I think you were talking about how he had come off the ice, basically referring to himself as the Mo Train in the third person, and that was in the paper. I remember that.
Yeah, I feel like I gave him the Mo Train nickname, and then he started talking about himself in the third person, and then it became this thing, I just can't imagine it. Like honestly, can you imagine if like some local kid was playing now in the situation, the crowds you guys are getting and stuff like that, and he was from Belfast and calling himself the Mo Train? My God, he'd be a hero,
Yeah,
it was hilarious. You just kept on feeding him and hyping him up. Yeah, Mo, you can do this, you can do that, and he's just like lapping it up and going with it.
Yeah. Mo would literally do anything I asked him to do, just like anything, absolutely anything. He was just so excited to be there. I love that kid. It's funny seeing him because I'll see him in Belfast and he'll tell me about like his computer software job and his family and stuff, and I'm like, gee, who's this guy? What happened to us all? We all got old. But yeah, it was a good crew, and I got to be buddies with like all your buddies too, like the guys that didn't necessarily play hockey, but just a good crew of guys,
I just Andre Payet's passed away a year ago this week, and I remember telling the story. Mo was going down, I think it's just the left wall, and Andre Payet could really have killed him, and he gave him a free pass, and I think he just shot at the goalie shot, and it's just the play's blown dead, and Payet just skates over him, sort of taps him, and literally tells him, I could have killed you there, just keep your head up. He didn't need to kill this 10-stone Brit, so he had a bit of class about him, Andre, as well. But what I was going to ask you, like that picture earlier on that I was looking at was Stewie handing Marty his shirt in the locker room, and it was like a picture in the Belfast Telegraph. A quick word for Rob Stewart. We have unsung heroes. We talk about Taff all the time, about he needs more praise for what he does. Stewie's been about all but one and a wee bit season. He came back the Theo year, scores on his return debut, and never went away again. Like he's been something special to the organization.
No, he Rob Stewart, it's funny because one of the things that's interesting, and I was just away in Finland with Thorts actually, and we were talking about this. It's like there's a lot of your crowd, there's a lot of my crowd. We compare the difference in when your crowd grows and grows. And I said, what, the best thing and the worst thing, like I would say 90% of your crowd don't know who Paxton Schulte is, which we all talk about it. And there's probably some diehard fans that still watch it and they remember who it is. And the sad thing is they don't even know who Rob Stewart was, because he was an unsung hero even when he was a hero. But if I'm sure some of your players watch this, and if those guys they should elite prospects search Rob Stewart and see what kind of numbers he put up and see I mean, he was probably a 4-time first team All-Star in this league, right? Like I can't remember. I played with Stewie 3 years in Bracknell and all my time in Belfast, bar when he like went away and coached in Sheffield. But I mean, Rob Stewart was like the first guy. Like if guys talk about someone taking them under their wing, and it's weird because I'm 48 years old now, and God, that makes Stewie 57. But Stewie, when I met Stewie, he was 31, and he was this, you know, he's the best player on the team, and he was the captain, and he was such a good guy. And he used to take us, like, if Marty, if you think we took you under his wing, he used to take us when we were in Bracknell, take us on the pub crawl, the Stewie pub crawl in London once a week on Monday, mandatory for all the young guys, right? And we'd meet him in London after practice because he was living in London at the time, and just a phenomenal guy. But like as a player, like just, I mean, the bigger and better the league got, Stewie just kept getting better, you know. And I think sometimes, you know, there's guys that have played for you for probably 3 or 4 years that never think like, I wonder what kind of player this guy was. And I mean, they all, you know, like it's the same with George, it's the same with Mace. You know, everyone's probably looked up Kiefer when he's their coach, but these assistant coaches had great careers here. But like Stewie's probably one of the best in the Super League, probably maybe one of the best defensemen, you know, definitely in Giants history, but maybe in UK history, you know?
Something makes me think Stewie never missed a game in the Super League.
He didn't.
Iron Man for his whole Super League career.
So me and Stewie, so I was a year behind him, and I never missed a league game. And then we got to the playoffs the one year, and I got one of those, you know, when you fall on your elbow and your bursa sac explodes, and I had that, like my arm was swollen from like basically had to be drained, and I missed the one playoff game. And so I kept the regular season streak, but he was always a year behind. So then when he became coach, remember he was the player coach.
Yep. And
I used to tell him, I'm like, I've never missed a regular season game. I just need you to miss one. Then I've got to play like another 50, and then I pass you. And when he was our player coach, Marty, that first year, Stewie would dress and he'd play like 3 or 4 shifts just so that he wouldn't miss the game. And I think it was just so he could keep that streak going because he knew I was like hot on his heels, even though I'd missed a playoff game. But I'd be like, just sit out a game, man. Like, let the guys play. Just and he never did. So, but I mean, all these guys that miss games, like, you know, like players nowadays, everyone talks about their era being harder than the new era. But like, you know, guys miss games. They miss a game, then they're like, you know, they miss a Saturday, they play Sunday, or they miss Sunday and they play the following Friday. Like, it's not like guys didn't get injured back then. It's not like Stewie didn't play with broken hands or hurt ankles or separated shoulders. Like, he played through all that stuff, you know? He got one of the worst cuts I've ever seen on his face. And I think I don't even know if he missed a game. He probably put a visor on and played the next week, you know? So he's just a warrior. One of my favorite guys I've ever met in hockey, for sure.
Yeah. Sammy Kitchen just dried himself. I don't know if you saw, you wouldn't have seen earlier, Todd, but we had Simon on earlier, and he's on
Where
holiday.
is he?
And he
where is he?
Majorca? Majorca? We'll say Majorca. But he did tell us, obviously wasn't listening, but he did jump into the swimming pool fully clothed just for us. But it's good to see Tim Coleman back on the best podcast in the Elite League. I'm going to drag this back to the Cardif Devils, Todd. I do have a list, but I'm not going to go through them all. But I did have a list of things to bring up with you. One was the rebrand, one was the rebuild, one was the new coach, which we've done, and the other one was those chains. Which I'm going to put the chains to the side.
Talk about the chains. Talk about the chains. My God, talk about an overreaction. We'll get to that.
Can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Did the idea come from the Calgary Stampede? You know, I used to go back there and party.
Yeah, no, like, you know what? Every NHL team sells chains, those big chains with their logos on them. Obviously, they're taking the piss, right? Like, it's not a serious thing. and for like 3 years, we've seen, because like we'll see like I've seen highlights of NFL games, of NHL games, and all the kids have these chains on with the logo. And so I kept saying, we got to get those changed. And then when we went back this summer, one of the owners, his son had one. And I was like, let me feel that. And we were just like, we got to find these. So we just found it. We found the company and ordered them. And honestly, we're obviously taking the piss of them ourselves. Like, we had Goldie looking chain at our game this week. And and like, I don't know if UK hockey fans just take themselves too seriously. Like, people were writing into us going like, why are you guys giving yourself medals after every win? And I'm like, oh my God, it's a joke. Like, it's a joke. Don't take things so seriously. But
it is a joke. But how much are they, Todd?
They're 22 pounds. Do you know what they are to
Yeah.
buy in? Well, I mean, Patty, what do you think? They're cheaper than they are in America. Do you know how much they are in America? Like $45.
I think.
$45. When was the last time you bought like anything half decent for less than 20 pounds? They we're probably making, honestly, I think we're making about 3 or 4 pounds a chain. And it's the whole point is, and with the amount we're giving away to people, like Goldie looking chain, we had to give 8 of them away. But like, we're probably going to break even. It's just one of those things that I always wanted to do. And I wanted to, I love stuff like that. I love doing different merchandise, and I just don't know when things got so serious, like that fans.
Do you wear one?
What's that?
Do you wear one at a game?
Do I? He wears one at home.
I wear a massive gold chain, but I will wear one on Halloween. I will 100% wear one, or I'll dress up as Goldie looking chain, or I'll dress up as Ali G and I'll wear one.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. That's going to be held to that. This has come on the back, obviously, Todd, on the rebrand and the brand new logo and the approach to that. Why change? Obviously, it's we did it and it's worked out very well for us. Is that the reason why you think there needed to be a rebrand, a sort of not a new identity, but a fresher identity?
I mean, we had a similar logo to the Giants one, right? Designed at a time when logos were, like in the 90s and early 2000s, logos were designed with lots of detail. It was like graphic designers showing that they can do all sorts of stuff and lots of shading and lots of angles. And it was a very detailed logo, just like the original Giants one with 5 different colors. And we didn't have 5 different colors, but we had all these designs, and there was no symmetry to it if you actually look at it. And we'd put it on a shirt, and just like the old Giants logo, you'd wash it a couple times and it would, crumple up. And it's a good logo. Like, it's not like I don't like the old Devils logo. We wanted a flat logo that you could produce on merchandise that didn't have the name of the team in it. And yeah, like we didn't do it because the Giants rebranded, but I mean, seeing what you guys did and how many jerseys you sold, yeah, like it makes sense to update your stuff. And like, if I'm being honest, like it's, the stories about like people are like, oh, I was at the rebrand, it was crickets. No, it wasn't. Like, these people, that stuff. What happens in hockey is people wait, they go online and they see what people think. They come on and they see like, what do those guys think? Because people don't want their own opinion. Like, on the night, people were coming up and saying how great it was. They clapped, they give a huge ovation to the guys that designed the logo, and anyone that tells you different is just lying. And there's some of our fans are pissed off. And honestly, I don't care. I don't care if they're pissed off about it. It's a logo. It's like, people are like, well, people aren't going to know it's the Cardif Devils. Yeah, they are. They still know it's Cardif Devils. And what it was is, there was a lot of, if I'm being honest, there was a lot of Devils fan, or there was a lot of Giants fans and a lot of Sheffield fans trolling our fans, just like our fans did to your fans when you guys rebranded. Like, you can talk about your rebrand now that it was the most successful rebrand ever. I saw lots of people bitching about your rebrand, and I was defending it. I was like, it's a way better logo. It's flat. It's like when you go down to like a flat logo, you can produce it. Yeah, you can produce it way better. And yeah, like when I saw that and talked to Thorts about how much money you made, there's Neil Braden saying it actually looks better in person. I don't know. Is Neil Braden the pilot guy?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Neil. You can have a free chain.
Cut this. Cash it.
You can't really. No, but like it's the exact reaction I thought that was going to happen, and then a week later or 2 weeks later, nobody was really talking. There's a couple. But
that's
people
it. Sorry to cut in, but that's it. I remember when the Giants did the rebrand, and we had a bit of a look at it before, because we were going to put it out a bit through our show, and I remember having a conversation with Sinead Doyle, who was sort of leading the way on that sort of the PR side of it, and I remember saying to her, you're going to get 40% of people who are going to be like so set in their ways that they don't want to change it. They don't want to change it. It's been the same for 20 years. We don't want to change. We like it the way it is. And and then you'll have people who will love it, and then you'll have people who don't care. And then it says, when we get to about October, November, nobody's going to give a crap.
Yeah,
it's done.
Yeah. And then it's just what you can do with it, right? Like, and like it's like anything. It's like anything of social media, right? Like, people, it spins out of control. And there was people there. I'll give you examples. There was people that I saw on the night, and on the night they're like, I actually really like it. I think it's way cooler. When you see it next to the other two, it looks great. And then they go home and they see that, I don't know, Patty Smith, 65, said it sucked. And he is a big influencer. Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, it does suck. And so then they change their mind. And then that same guy's in line the next morning buying, like, there was a lineup the next morning to get jerseys and stuff. And I'd be like, oh, you going to put that online? I saw what you were saying last night. And they're like, no, I'm not going to put anything positive online. You should see what people are saying online. So, and I'm not saying it's all about the money, even though that's another thing. Todd Kelman's all about the money. That's why I did it. You have to measure it in how popular it is, right? And you have to measure about how many jerseys you sell and how many hats you're selling. And we're selling double the amount of merchandise we were selling before. And a lot of people that complain, like there's a few of the older guys, which I knew, and they'd be pissed off and they're mad about it. And they also haven't bought a jersey since it was Kern Oil, which is the sponsor in 1987, right? So you're not going to please everyone, and they've got to have a reason to be pissed off at sometimes. And I think back in the day, a lot of fans have this thing where it's always been them against the club. And I think in Cardif especially, for years it was them against the club, because they were battling with owners that hadn't paid the players and stuff, or they were battling for players to get the money they were owed from the summer. When I got here, I noticed that there was this like underbelly of like these fans that almost want to fight with the ownership, right? And we don't give them a reason to. Like, they can be pissed off that we haven't won stuff, or they can be pissed off that the power play sucks this week or last week or all last season, but they can never say that we treat our players like shit, or that we don't pay our players on time or anything like that. And I think for years they had those battles, and I think this gives them something to battle about. Like, some people just, you know what it's like. Some people, you can go through people's threads on social media, and some people just bitch about everything. They go to an airline, they bitch about the Wi-Fi in the airport, they bitch about the price of coffee at Costa. They just bitch about everything. And like, don't take life so seriously. Like, a logo isn't going to ruin your life. It shouldn't ruin your life. If a hockey logo ruins your life, find something else to ruin your life with. Get over it. Just it's ridiculous.
Let's trail this conversation back towards the league. Over the last weekend, you may want to talk about this, Todd. You may not want to. Over the last weekend, there's obviously been stuff in the social media, and the league have even made a statement about people going after refs, if you like. And I know at times and through your career, and we'll have a moan, WhatsApp, whatever. Refs make bad calls, refs make good calls, but irrelevant of what they do. Without them, there's no game. You can't be tackling them on social media, and you cannot be tackling them face to face. And even with the slightest hint of physicality, you can't just do it.
Honestly, Davy, you should, like, social media is such a cesspool, especially Twitter, right? Like every fool has an opinion, then they think it matters, and that's what it is, right? Like, there's lots of people on Twitter that I respect, and there's lots of people that, I'll give you an example. There are hundreds and hundreds of fans across the EIHL that will rip, like, they'll start. This is how their Twitter. I could do a timeline for the year. Start of the season. It's been great having the summer off. It's so nice. And this year I'm going to be more positive. Then something happens and they start bitching about their club, or they bitch about another club. Then around, I don't even know what day it is, but that once a year where it says, if you can be anything today, be kind. Bell, let's talk. My DMs slide into my DMs if you need someone to talk to. And then at some point during the year, they do the listen, I'm going to take a break from social media. It's just too bad. It's tough on my mental health. And this is their cycle every year, but they always come back to it, right? And the reality is, like, if you don't like what we're doing, don't follow us. If you feel like you have to bitch about refs online, like, the thing that I will never understand is, if I wanted to bitch about, like, back in Davy, every time you're on the gantry, we have a little bitch about the league, right? We complain about this, we complain about the format of the cup, we complain about this. Me and you don't put that online. And if we did, I would be battling. I'd have other teams complaining that I ripped on our own league. I'd have Mike Hicks calling me, going, "Why are you publicly saying this stuff?" And now I'm saying it on a podcast, which isn't smart. But you know what I mean? Like, you bitch to your buddies, you complain to your friends,
yeah.
You do the old-fashioned way. Go have a beer, go have a coffee, complain to your friends, get on the phone. The natural reaction now has become this thing where you go home after a game and you go on Twitter and complain about something. And honestly, everyone doing that, just, like, grow up. It's so stupid. Honestly, it's so dumb.
I think, but it got taken to an extreme on Saturday where there was a physical confrontation where somebody tried to.
I don't even know.
Someone has alleged on Twitter that they tried to throw a punch at a linesman and the linesman was goading himself. I think it was the Fife Belfast game, to be quite honest. Am I right, Paddy? Or
really?
But
Well,
sure.
But anyway, the league went as far as putting a statement out, obviously. So it's coming to a point as well.
It's stupid. It's stupid. Like, you can't, like, I've seen football fans online like attacking officials at airports and stuff. Like, honestly, do you think officials, if any fan or any player or any coach thinks officials are out to get them, like, if every game we play, if we play Belfast this weekend, at some point we'll think the referees are screwing us and you'll think the referees are screwing you. When have you ever gone to a game and been like, you know what, I gotta say, the referees really screwed the other team and everything went my way, and I'm going to go over, but we still lost, so I'm going to go over and congratulate them on a great job. No, if you win, you complain less about the officials. If you lose, it's a natural thing in any sport. I was just watching my kid play rugby on Sunday, and one of the dads was complaining about the refereeing. The kids are 9 years old. You know what I mean? Like, no referee is on the take. No referee is actually like getting money behind the back to make other teams. The referees don't care enough to do that, right? They like hockey. They like the job as much as we all like hockey and like watching hockey and playing hockey and coaching and managing. They like reffing hockey. That's their thing. Their teammates are the guys that they have striped jerseys on with. They are a team. They are the 11th team in the league. And we treat them like shit. We treat them poorly. There's teams that used to not feed them if they lost. They take the chicken out of their chicken sandwiches because they didn't deserve protein if they reffed wrong. Like, that stuff is garbage. It's absolute garbage. And these fans that think they can DM referees, like, you could DM me and complain about it, but I don't have Twitter anymore because you guys were so stupid on Twitter that I just got off of it. You know, it's garbage. It's absolute garbage. I feel bad for the refs. I think it's bullshit.
I don't know. Like, Dave Cloutman definitely had it in for Belfast against Cardiff that night, and that's why Ed Courtney lost the rag. I'm convinced.
That was Boniface.
It was Nigel Boniface. Sorry, it was Nigel Boniface. You're right. I keep thinking it was Dave Cloutman. You know what? I think we spoke about that. I don't know. Let's bring it back. Just one last thing, Todd, because listen, really appreciate your time. And it's always great having you on because it just turns into a really good chat. But obviously the game against the Belfast Giants this Sunday, Cardiff, good weekend last weekend, especially going into Sheffield and taking the win the way you did. How confident are you for this season?
I think if I'm being honest, Sheffield they're stacked. They're a good team. Like, we played our best game for sure. And you know, you guys haven't played Sheffield yet, but I think they're better than their team last year. And I think, you know, we'll all be battling with each other. We're all going to take points off each other. So, you know, 2 games in, we're not going to get too confident or anything like that. And it's weird because we've all played so many games, but is this the first weekend of league games for Belfast?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so they played Champions League, they played preseason, they played cup games. I think you've got a lot of good teams in this league this year. Like, I think it's probably the most competitive it's been in years. And I think the teams that people don't expect to win are still good enough to take points off you at any point. I don't think there's going to be, you know, there's not going to be easy trips like the battle days where you go to Edinburgh, Fife, and know you're going to get a couple wins. Like, those days are long gone. But especially this year, I mean, you guys battled with Fife on the weekend, you know, and I don't know, you know, like, we're not overly confident any weekend that we're playing good teams, but we're not, you know, we're also not underconfident thinking that you guys are going to roll over us. I think us and you need to, you know, throughout the year, it's going to be a battle. We'll take points off you. You'll take points of us. Same with Sheffield, same with Nottingham, Guildford, Glasgow, like all these teams. There's a lot of legit teams in this league, you know, and I think it's going to be exciting. It's always fun at the start of the year. If I could, you know, I wish that people had the same banter that we have with each other. That I wish they could have that and realize that we're all playing a game. All the teams want to win. No, don't ever accuse your players of not trying and not trying to win. Not every athlete can have a great day every day. Just like everyone at work doesn't have a great day every day. You know what I mean? Like, I wish fans understood that everyone tries to win every game. You know, like, if you come in and kick our ass and beat us 7-0 on Sunday, or if we beat you 5-1, your team didn't stop trying and our team didn't stop trying. Everyone wants to win. Nobody goes into a game to lose. And the reality of human nature is you cannot perform at your best every single day of your life in every single situation. But we all work really hard to try to win. And obviously Belfast are the team to beat. You guys won everything last year. And so teams had to get better to compete with you guys. And that's just the reality of sports, right? Like, that's what makes it fun. And as a fan, you should always start the season with hope and excitement. But if your team isn't winning, you shouldn't get down on them, but you will. And you shouldn't be calling for people's heads 2 or 3 weeks into a season, but some teams will. And it's you guys know what it's like. We've been doing this for how many years? 20 years?
20 odd years, man.
It's the same stuff, and there'll be some new social media platform in a couple of years that we're talking about. I don't know what it'll be called, but we'll be bitching and complaining about that and be like, do you remember how much better Twitter was?
Well, listen, we really appreciate your time. We're going to leave you with just this picture, as we were just talking about him.
That's the one. Yep. Look at that nose.
Stewart. The arm.
Was that our second year? I think that was our second year in Belfast.
And then we had a message down the side there from Lynchy bringing up this fight with Ken Simpson that he had. It was one of his few fights. I don't think he had many fights, did he? David?
No, he had a few, but he could throw him because he's
the fight with Cam Simpson was something else. Like, it was poor Kent got his face sort of rearranged.
Stewie could definitely throw him. Stewie, the thing that was crazy was fans. I remember playing in Bracknell, and fans in Bracknell would be like, "Man, Rob Stewart's point production's really gone down." And you remember it went from like the British League to the Super League, and he'd had like 190 points in the British League, and then it went to an all-import league, and he only had 45 or something. And people are like, "Boy, his point production went down." And you guys always bug me about being a former Bracknell Bee. He's a former Basingstoke Beaver, and I let him know every single time we played in Basingstoke, close to Basingstoke, anywhere within it. Like, hey, the Beavers didn't want you. Remember that, Stewie. These guys didn't want you. So bring that up. Next time you interview Stewie, he's a former Basingstoke Beaver. Not even Bison. I didn't even know the Beavers were probably like Beaver. If there's a worse name than Bracknell Bees, it was definitely the Basingstoke Beaver. So
fantastic. Todd, listen, really appreciate your time.
No problem, guys. Always a pleasure. Yeah. Are you coming, Davy? Are you here Sunday?
I'll be there.
All right, man. I'll see you on the gantry. All right.
Take it easy.
You stay on the gantry and take out the league, but don't tell me.
Oh,
don't tell my
here before you go, Neil Braden. He'd be there on Sunday to practice.
He'd be there on Sunday to collect it.
Yeah, he wouldn't want it. He wouldn't wear it. Oh, you know what you can say to your fans just to piss them off, because they'll be pissed off. Actually, no, I won't even tell them. I'll tell them. So in the summer, we changed our policy on drummers, and you can't bring drums as away fans in. I don't know if your team's
as away fans, your own fans can bring them in.
Of course they can. Yeah. It's our rink, Patty.
Really?
It's our rink. You don't even come to games, Patty. You've never been here before. But
I've been there plenty of times, just not recently. I've got young kids, mate.
I think Belfast. Yeah, that's true. I think Belfast might bring a drum, but yeah, get pissed off now because we're not letting drums in. So
it's a challenge.
You can blame the Coventry Blaze for that one. We'll explain it offline sometime. But
I think I remember that story. Anyway, Todd, listen, thank you very much. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Always good value having Todd Kelman on. Always good fun. Always lots of crack. Always good chat. A big thanks to Todd Kelman. And he's taken up. We're now into an hour and 30 minutes. Right. So let's quickly race through a little bit of news. And I'm going to start with, of course,
Dops.
Todd Kelman appearing for the second time in the show.
Yeah, that is Todd.
It is Todd.
Dops.
Dops. The Department of Player Safety have seen they're going to sanction Johnny Walker of the Dundee Stars for an illegal hit to the head in the game against the Manchester Storm just the other night. He's getting a 2-game suspension for a pretty nasty one, Davy.
Oh, let's wind that back.
As you can see, he's coming in from the side here. If anybody watching online, and he's
So
watching.
I talked last week about in hockey. There's there's a time and a place for a hit. Sometimes a hit's necessary. Sometimes it's not. That's cheap shot. That's unnecessary. I think that's quite lucky to get 2 games. That's direct. There's no such in the rule book. I think it says something like there's no such thing as a clean hit to head. That's direct contact, either shoulder or slightly head to head. That's just cheap shot. And Johnny Walker, I think Marty might have referenced him a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. One of those players that you love on your team, you hate when he's against you. Those players play on the absolute line of what's acceptable, and that is coming across it.
Is that more than 2 games, Marty?
I was being quite nice in commentary.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him on my team. I was just being nice last week. He's in an undisciplined position. You've got 2 forecheckers in there. He should be on the right wing looking after the other winger. He's just coming in here. He has no right to be there. He's just looking straight into his head. He's putting his shoulder into his head. And the guy, I think he might have got concussion, but also he can also get an MCL injury here on his knee when you see the way he goes down because he has no control over his body anymore. That's not a 2-game ban. That's at least an 8 to 10 game ban in my world. Well, Dops is another place.
I agree with you. I think it's much more than a 2-game ban. You can see his eyes are on the player. He's lifted up into the player's head. He's deliberately gone in there to do damage. Whatever the reason is, the puck's long gone. He's deliberately gone. Yeah, and you're at full speed. It does always look worse on in slow-mo. But in full speed, where's he looking? He's lifted his shoulder. He's made contact with the head. No?
That's a bad hit. It's a bad hit.
Oh, it's a terrible hit.
I think there's an element, and we talked last week about the guy in the Steelers game getting. There seems to be first offences in this league seem to get a little bit more leniency with them. If this had been as a second offence, I think Marty's probably right. You're into a multi game ban. He's done. I said at the start, I think he's done very well to only get 2 games, and it's been a long time since there's been an 8-10 game handed out, Marty. But that guy has came from distance, which is a big factor in like an instigator rule, the distance you travel. His eyes never once look towards the puck. The puck's 30 feet away when he makes the hit. His eyes aren't even focused. It's a late hit if he hits him in the chest. He never once looks. He's looking directly at his head, and he hits the target he wants to hit. Very good point about you about supplementary injuries, if you like, falling without control of your body because you've been stung in the head. It's a bad hit. And Dops almost with last week's sanction of a fine rather than anything for the check against the boards. And this week, for a direct naughty hit to the head is 2 games. They're almost setting precedents here, which sometimes can be dangerous, and some players can go, oh, well, he got 2 games. I'll settle a score here. It's just, that's not a good hit. It's not clever looking.
That's it. Like, Marty, surely in a case like this, you should be, like you say, 8 games or more. You should be setting an example to make sure the players don't do this, because if you think you're going to get an 8-game suspension for a hit like that, then you're going to think twice before doing it again.
100%. Your fans are going to get on your back. This guy gets away with a weekend in London or a weekend in, somewhere. He can get the weekend off. Yeah, it's just. I think Dobbs need to start quite hard, especially with these hits to the head. I just that makes me angry just seeing that. Like, I watched Dundee's friendly games against Fife, against the European teams, and what I seen with Walker was a bit of a menace. But see the way he's playing, everyone will have him on the radar now, and you're going to have guys coming in there hitting him clean, but you still get hurt, from receiving a clean hit. So this guy's going to have to be aware. He's going to have to be aware of his surroundings when he comes up against some big tough guys in this league now.
Yeah, a 2-game suspension for Johnny Walker. He will miss next weekend for the Dundee Stars. There's another Dops which doesn't have any video. It's Dyson Stevenson for the Glasgow Clan at the end of the game against Cardif. He was involved in instigator/aggressor of an altercation in the final 5 minutes. He's fined and suspended for 1 game, and that'll be Saturday's game at home to the Blaze. No video of that, but it's a cut and dried one. If you instigate something at the end of the game within the last 5 minutes, then you get the 1 game suspension. So we'll not dwell anymore on that. League news, just briefly. I'll play the goals of the week while I'm going through this. Cardiff took that 5-2 win over the Clan and followed it up in the league with a 3-2 win over Sheffield in South Yorkshire. Sheffield themselves had just thumped Nottingham 6-0 in their own backyard to take top spot in Challenge Cup Group C. Fife went to Coventry after losing to ourselves at 1-6-4 in what was a bit of a barnstorming game, a 10-goal game that opened with Kobe Roth in the first 30 seconds and was 4-4 with 2 minutes left before Fife snatched a victory, including an empty netter. Storm took 3 points out of 4 in a home-and-home series against the Stars. Both teams winning in their own barn. Dundee doing so in a shootout. This actually puts the Storm top of the embryonic Elite League table, which, to put it in context, as Davy said, the Giants are in 9th, having not played a game, above the Clan in 10th, who have played a game. And then just going back to what you had mentioned there, Davy, in a conversation with Todd Kelman, there was obviously that tweet from the Elite League in their socials about the refereeing, and that also there were messages and DMs being sent to referees, and the league basically going for don't be a melter.
I'm nearly certain, Paddy, I read on Twitter that somebody had an actual attempted physical altercation with one of the officials, and I'm nearly sure it was after the Fife game. Might be completely wrong. Check that out on Twitter later on, put it in our WhatsApp group, but I'm nearly certain that's the case. Like Todd said it perfectly, it's been done to death already on this podcast. Just these guys are all doing a job, and we're all paying to be there and watch it and support our teams, and you know, there'll be next week. You don't win this week, there'll be next week. You know, be better, win the game in front of you. Can't blame the referees. For the vast majority, if a referee makes 100 decisions across a game or across 2 games, he'll get 95 plus of them right. They make the odd bad call. We're all human. Players make mistakes too. Officials make mistakes. You live with it. We all make mistakes. We're human. To err is human.
Last word on that to you, Marty. No ref, no game.
Yeah, 100%. People just need to calm down. You know, refs, we know the majority of them are part-time. They're doing their best. They're just trying to call a fair game. They don't always get it right. And, you know, people who are on keyboards, they need to own what they write. And they just can't go around doing that. You guys have nailed it. Don't be a melter. And just let's have a bit more love and harmony around
let's take it back to 2003, 2004 when you had one ref. 2 linos, a lino gets hurt sometimes, you've got a ref and a lino, you know. Go to the ice bowl, mate, you'll maybe have a ref doing the lines as well, you know. It's
Davey, how many years were you crying out for a 4-man system? How many years?
It's not in that long. Is it 10 years maybe? Less?
We haven't had the 4-man system for 10, with less than 10 years.
It's now roughly that. But the standard of the refereeing will only go on that trajectory when there's more infrastructure, when there's more investment. These guys, this is a part-time job for all of them. None of these guys are pros. You know, a lot of these guys do this for the love of the game. And fans need to remember that. We need to remember that these guys are here to facilitate the game, because they're not doing it for a pension, that's for sure.
Whereas the actual professional referees make mistakes like they did at Spurs on Saturday. But anyway.
And they've got TVs and everything.
They got TVs and everything. Not better about that. Not in the slightest, Simon Kitchen. Right. 3 games potentially before we next meet. We haven't sort of worked out what we're going to do next week yet. But the Flames away Saturday 6 p.m. at the Spectrum. The Devils away Sunday 6 p.m. at the Kyle Baum Arena. Both of those on their logo, Flames and Devils TV. And then next Tuesday, or 1 week from now, the Belfast Giants will welcome Red Bull Salzburg in the Champions Hockey League to the SSE Arena, and that game is on Viaplay Extra. That's the free TR channel. That will be live there with Murph, potentially Simon if he's back from holiday. Marty, I'll go for you. These two games against the Flames and the Devils, the Giants want to start off on the front foot, and the Flames, doing so well last season, will be wanting to sort of cement their place as being one of the top teams.
Yeah, they haven't had a good start as last year, but we all know what Paul Dixon can bring. He a really fast attacking team, but Giants, I want to go there, stamp their authority, just do what they did with the previous 2 games on the road. He'll obviously concentrate on the first night in Guildford, try and do the job there, and then going to Cardif the next night, slightly tired, but keeps good at working out systems. He'll try and find a way to bring home the 4 points again. We've had 2 weekends there, 4 points from each weekend, so he'll want to continue that.
And he'll be there. Sorry, go on.
And then the Champions League, obviously day rest there, and it'll be tricky to get back into that mindset, just to try and go back to that win we had against was it Bolzano? Was it at home? Yeah, Bolzano. So we got to go back then into that competition, regroup, and then try and get up to speed and the different style of European hockey again. So I'm looking forward to this next week for sure.
Well, we're going to, Davy, obviously you'll be there on Sunday for the game in Cardif, but then coming back into the CHL game, and as Marty said, trying to get in the mindset. There is an opportunity here with a couple of wins that the Giants could progress, but it's all about, getting through these games and getting the wins.
Yeah, let's not go cliche and go one game at a time and all that good stuff, because we'll be focused on Guildford, and then we'll go and focus on Cardif, and then we'll go to CHL. The CHL game, if we're going to have a wee look at it, is massive. If we beat Salzburg, there's a real chance. Because that last game could actually then be a bit of a dead rubber for the opposition if it doesn't go well for them. It could be a dead rubber either way if it doesn't work out for us, and it could be just a real damp squib. But there's a chance that we go into that as a do or die against a team that's already out of the competition. So next Tuesday night, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday night, might just go to that. Get my orange wings and get over. Get Stelios, fly me in.
Stelios, does he still own that?
But there's an opportunity there, and you want to keep momentum rolling, and you want to put a good performance on in front of your home fans. But listen, honestly, first period Saturday night is the only focus at the minute.
Absolutely. Those games, Flames against the Giants, Saturday 6 p.m. at the Spectrum. You get that on Flames TV. Devils against the Giants, Sunday at 6 p.m. at the Calbon Arena. You can see that on Devils TV. And Giants against Red Bull Salzburg in the CHL SSE Arena on Tuesday 7 p.m. Get yourself down there. And if you're not able to, it'll be on Viaplay Extra. And you'll be able to watch that there with Murph. Any other business, gentlemen?
Oh,
go on. What have you forgotten?
I was supposed to do a draw for everybody that entered for my badly drawn. I thank you so much. We will do the draw on next Tuesday night show because I want to do it live. Thank you everybody that donated. That money's been handed over. Elijah says thank you so much. He's going to have a nice meal with his brother when he's in. And
wonderful.
Thank you again. And sorry for forgetting about the draw. It's so much doing all that video tonight. Sorry, forgot. My bad.
All right, mate. That's all right.
And happy birthday, Marty.
I'm all good, thank you. I really enjoyed tonight. Thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you guys soon when you get back across the pond.
Thanks for spending your birthday with us, mate. It was it's something you didn't really need to do, but we really appreciate that you have, and we've really enjoyed having you on. It's been really good fun and a real pleasure having you chat to us. You've got your. Oh, sorry, I'll play it again for you. I'll turn it up. The only bit of any other business for me is a big shout out to Anthony Russell, who's got his dream job. He's tomorrow night. He's commentating for his favorite team, the Guildford Flames. It's one of these things. Like John O'Bullard got the job commentating for the Nottingham Panthers. This is such a dream of Mr. Russell's to commentate for the Guildford Flames. So congratulations to him and getting that play-by-play, and he'll be doing.
He'll have a wee Flames hoodie. He'll have a Flames polo shirt on, and
He's already got them. He's already got all that gear, so he'll be doing that. Big thanks to Jeff Baum and, of course, to Todd Kelman for joining us on the show. Davy, thanks for cutting the videos and all that. Marty, brilliant having you with us. Really lovely. Well, hopefully
Really
you'll
enjoyable.
again through the season, not just sitting in for says, but just come and have a chat with us, moving scissors around as well. I'll be part of the show.
Yeah,
We really enjoyed
you.
having you here. Flames Giants Saturday 6 p.m. Devils Giants Sunday 6 p.m. both on their local TV stations, and the Giants Red Bull Salzburg. Get yourself down to that at AVFTB on Twitter, kingdomofgiants.com. You get us on Facebook. I'm trying to do a little bit more of Instagram and trying to do all sort of stuff. We appreciate everybody who's been sending comments and all that sort of stuff on Twitter and on our live thing here, and wherever you are this weekend. We hope you enjoy your hockey, and we'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.